Ladies and gentlemen, aloha and welcome to the Schofield Barracks Energy Resilience and Security Project Commemoration of Operations event. What a beautiful morning. My name is Mike McGee. I am the Executive Director of the Army Office of Energy Initiatives, also known as the OEI. I'm proud to be part of this organization that helps facilitate the development of large-scale power projects like the one you will hear so much about here today that bring energy security and resilience to Oahu, the greater Waihia community, and the Army also. I will also be today's MC. I'm delighted to be with you, standing with our soldiers and extended Army family to recognize an energy resilience and security milestone for the United States Army. So let's get started. Would you please rise for the singing of our national anthem and the Hawaii State Song by Staff Sergeant Christian Crawford, part of the U.S. Army 25th Infantry Division Paradise Brass Band, and then remain standing for the invocation. And I will make you aware the United States flag is just at the top of that pole above this tent.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Hawaii pono'i nanai komo'i kalani ali ke ali makualani e kamehameha e na kawae pale me kaihe makualani e kamehameha e na kawae pale me kaihe.
Terrific, thank you. Please remain standing for the invocation. Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Niehoff will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the book of Genesis, you commanded Adam and Eve to tend to the garden and to care for it. Lord, we continue to seek to better care for the world around us, a world which originated from you. Lord, we are grateful that this power plant will help provide power, but also provides a source of alternative energy. While it is a demonstration of human ingenuity, we also acknowledge that all true wisdom and knowledge comes from you. We pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. And if we could, let's have a round of applause for Staff Sergeant Crawford and the Chaplain. Thank you. Fantastic. Now I'm going to introduce today's official party, and here's where I'm going to earn some money, frankly. This is a long list. A lot of people are very, very proud of this project and have a lot to be proud of. So we're going to recognize everyone possible that we can today. So I'm going to call your name, and please just raise your hand so people can find you in the audience. But let's hold our applause, please, until we get through the list, and then we'll welcome everyone at that time together. Let's see. First, the Honorable Brian Schatz, U.S. Senator for Hawaii's Congressional District. The Honorable Mazie Hirono, U.S. Senator for Hawaii's Congressional District. Mr. Jordan Gillis, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations, Energy, and Environment. The Honorable Catherine Hammock, former Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations, Energy, and the Environment. General Robert Bob Brooks Brown, Commanding General, U.S. Army Pacific Command. Mr. Alan Oshima, President and Chief Executive Officer, Hawaiian Electric Company. Ms. Connie Lau, President and CEO, Hawaiian Electric Industries. Senator Donovan De La Cruz, whose senatorial district includes Wahiawa and also chair of the Senate Ways and Means Committee. Representative Leigh Learmont, Hawaii State Representative. Major General Ronald Clark, Commanding General, 25th Infantry Division, U.S. Army, Hawaii. Dr. Christine Altendorf, Region Director, Installations Management Command, Pacific. Mr. Jack Sarash, Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army for Energy and Sustainability. Brigadier General Douglas Anderson, Commanding General, 9th Mission Support Command. Colonel Steve Dawson, Commander, U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii. Mr. Michael Amarosa, Deputy Garrison Commander, U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii. Command Sergeant Major Jason Schmidt, Installations Management Command, Pacific. Command Sergeant Major Lisa Pate Edwards, U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii. And attending on behalf of Governor David Ige, Mr. Luis Salaveria, Director of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism at State Department. Attending on behalf of Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Hawaii 2nd Congressional District, is Ms. Kirsten Turner, Field Representative. Mr. Roy Amamea, Managing Director, the City and County of Honolulu. Former State House member Marcus Oshiro, representing the Wahiawa community. Mr. Ron Cox, Senior Vice President of Operations, Hawaiian Electric. Mr. John Polishchek, President, American Piping and Boiler Company. Mr. Rick Halil, Senior VP, General Manager for Energy, Burns & McDonnell Engineering. Ms. Courtney Dever, General Manager, Wartsila Service. Let's give a round of applause for our official party today. I would also like to especially acknowledge some additional distinguished guests for being with us today. For a significant lift in getting this project off the ground and completed, Mr. Keith Yamanaka, Energy Manager for U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii. And Mr. Bob Eisler, Vice President of Power Supply, Hawaiian Electric. And of course, all the teams that we know supported them behind the scenes that made their efforts so productive. Thanks so much to all their team. I hope we have some representatives from Solomon Elementary School and the 5th grade class who created the energy drawings you see here today. Do we have Ms. Tristan Komashiro today? Or Principal Sally Omalza? We weren't sure if they were going to make it, but if you get a chance to go back here and look at the poster session that has the 5th graders' drawings, they were asked to imagine their lives in the year 2045 and where their island's energy would come from. I especially liked Maya E., who imagined energy from meteors, and her quote was, "Meteors are sometimes hard to catch, but it's worth the wait." Isn't that great? I also like to acknowledge the official participants, our local and community leaders, staff, and members of the media, and honored guests. Thank you for celebrating this occasion with us. Nearly 2 years ago, we were here for the groundbreaking event, and now this 50-megawatt multi-fuel power generation plant is operational. The project enhances energy resiliency by adding diversity to the communities and Schofield Barracks energy supply during peak and emergency situations. Our speakers will be highlighting the achievement and teamwork and the unity of effort that it took to get here today. And so with that, I'd like to introduce our Schofield Barracks host. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Colonel Steve Dawson, Commander, U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii.
Mr. McGee, thank you for welcoming all of our distinguished guests. I won't do it again. But I do want to welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Schofield Barracks for this landmark occasion. On behalf of the U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii, it's truly an honor for me to see this wonderful turnout today. Incredible. As we dedicate this remarkable power generation station, I am going to start with a quote in Latin. Is there anybody here who speaks Latin? Because this can go really good, or can go really bad. Good. Nobody can sharpshoot me. Inquissima hec bellerum conditio est prospera omnis sibi indicant industra una impuntantur. This is a Latin proverb. Yes, I spoke it perfectly. This is a Latin proverb found originally in the book of Agricola, written by the Roman historian Tacitus in AD 98. It was also found in the diaries of the Italian diplomat, son-in-law of Mussolini, Count Galeazzo Ciano, in the Cialiano Gazzo diaries. But it was popularized in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy when responding to a question by journalists about the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs was not a success. But the quote I read states, loosely translated, "Success has many parents, but failure is an orphan." The Bay of Pigs was a failure, but this power plant is not an orphan. I think we can all agree that the Schofield Generation Station is no orphan. In fact, to say it has many parents is an understatement. And understandably so. There are many, many reasons why so many from the United States Army and our elected officials who represent this island community, the community itself, the Hawaiian Electric Company, can all be proud of what has been accomplished with the completion of this power generation station. Today is the culmination of 13 years of hard work and perseverance that began as a vision conceived in the year 2005 for a Hawaiian Electric power generation station to be constructed on Schofield Barracks to improve the energy security of the Army in Hawaii. The concept of a partnership of this kind was not just cutting edge, but it was really at the time bleeding edge. The idea faced the gauntlet of naysayers, pessimists, and realists who couldn't believe that this project could ever happen. To quote the U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii employee who planted the seed for this vision in 2005, Mr. Keith Yamanaka, everyone thought we were crazy. So we had to enlist the help of the Pacific Northwest National Labs to provide third-party validation for a proposed 50-megawatt generation station and demonstrate that this project could be win-win for the Army and the Hawaiian Electric Company. In 2011, the cost analysis justification was completed by the lab, and the project gained traction. And thanks to the efforts of the Assistant Secretary of the Army's Energy Initiative Task Force, now known as the Office of Energy Initiatives, a lease was eventually signed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Hawaiian Electric Company in July 2016. I had just taken command of the U.S. Army Garrison in June of 2016, and as a graduate of Northeastern University with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, having actually worked for a little power company from another little island population, the Newport Electric Company on Aquidneck Island in Rhode Island. I had a theme going here in my career. I had the honor and privilege of participating in my very first groundbreaking ceremony as the Garrison Commander, right here, 22 August 2016, in this exact spot with some of you. But here we are today, at the site of an engineering marvel. Can you believe it? 2 years ago, we were surrounded by guinea grass up to here when we had the ceremony. We are all proud parents of this overwhelmingly successful project, but I want to, one more time, recognize what I call the godfathers of this success. The two visionaries who began pushing this wet noodle uphill in 2005 when everybody thought they were crazy. Well, Mr. Keith Yamanaka and Mr. Bob Eisler from Hawaiian Electric Company. Keith from U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii, please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Keith and Bob Eisler. The innovations achieved with this power plant are many. That it actually runs on fuel made from repurposed food waste in Hawaii that will result in diversion of unimaginable tons of waste from landfills for generations to come speaks to its use of a renewable energy source and environmentally sound engineering. That it is technically capable of also running on natural gas. It holds the promise of future potential innovations if we can realize the vision of harvesting methane gas from Hawaii's wastewater treatment plants, and combining that with methane gas made from massive amounts of sludge byproduct at those same wastewater treatment plants, combined with the emerging technology of biodigesters to produce methane fuel to potentially run this in the future. that this power generation station is now the only Hawaiian Electric Company power plant on the island not located in the tsunami inundation zone. Located only a mile away from the only airfield on this island not located in the tsunami inundation zone. Makes for a great combination for future defense support to civil authorities in the event of an unfortunate and unforeseeable natural disaster. When you consider that we are all located on the most remote landmass on planet Earth, precisely 2,282.81 miles from the nearest continent, the Hawaiian community should find great comfort in knowing that the Army, strategically located on this beautiful geological anomaly, will be in the position to come to the rescue of our Hawaii ohana, but let's hope that actually never happens. It is also noteworthy that the combined power generation of this plant in the demand response of the U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii footprint with all of our buildings and homes now provides 57 megawatts of firm grid stability, the best of any customer of the Hawaiian Electric Company. I was hoping Governor Ige was going to be here this morning. I got a little good-natured banter that was going to be directed at him. I'm going to roll with it. And just to let you know that it was good-natured, I got a little smiley face on my notes here to prove it. Honolulu happens to be the #1 city in the United States of America, something very proud, that he should be very proud of, for using the most renewable energy generated per capita at 605.4 watts generated per person. However, now, by comparison, the U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii, arguably the second largest city in Hawaii, we now have renewable power production per capita thanks to this power plant of 1,329 watts per person. Also something to be very proud of. And finally, most importantly, for the 25th Infantry Division, otherwise known as the Pacific Division, the Hawaiian Division, strategically located in the center of the Indo-Pacific Command's area of responsibility, we have achieved energy resiliency and energy security, which directly contributes to readiness of the 25th ID and national security for the Indo-Pacific region. With Hawaiian Electric Company having the ability to rapidly start these 6 generators behind me in the power plant and islanding Schofield Barracks, Wheeler Army Airfield, and the Cuneo Listening Station, and using newly installed switchgear, combined with the legacy transmission lines that already feed power to the Leilehua Plains, we can almost guarantee that the Army in central Oahu will have power to fight tonight or to assist the larger Hawaiian community when necessary by being the nucleus of power restoration on the island and a center of fusion for relief if we ever need to help mitigate human suffering. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Installation Management Command serving the rugged professional, I want to extend a big mahalo to all of you once again for joining us today. Army strong, one team, Tropic Lightning.
Thank you, Colonel Dawson. Great job. A smiley face. Our next speaker is Mr. Jordan Gillis, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations, Energy, and Environment. Mr. Gillis.
So I have prepared remarks. However, they did not include a quote. So I will instead start by sharing a saying that we have where I'm from, Atlanta, Georgia. We say that a Yankee is someone who comes down from the north and visits. A damn Yankee is someone who comes down from the north and stays. So I don't know if you have the equivalent here in Hawaii, but I suspect you do, and I would say that I think that it would be worth being cussed at to live in a place like this. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here. So good morning and aloha. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here this morning to help recognize a significant achievement for the Army, for U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii, and for the state of Hawaii. Our host properly recognized all the dignitaries who are with us today, so I won't go through the itemized recognition, but I will add my most gracious thank you for all of you being here today, and I think that really is a testament to the import of this project. Today I've got the privilege of addressing you on behalf of the Secretary of the Army, Dr. Mark Esper, in my capacity as the Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army for Installations, Energy, and Environment. And it is an honor to be here so close to Memorial Day when we remember and honor those who sacrificed their lives in service to this nation. The energy resilience and security initiatives like this project are aimed at improving Army readiness around the world and reducing risk to mission, soldiers, families, and civilians of the Army. Energy resilience enables Army readiness, and the Army continues to work toward its goal of achieving energy and water resilience on its installations. Our goal is to provide the necessary energy and water resources to sustain critical missions in the event of a major disruption in supply. I'm confident that on-site generation projects like this one at Schofield Barracks will help the Army meet this high demand for, or high standard for resilience. Notably is the only baseload power generation facility on Oahu located outside the tsunami strike zone. The Office of Energy Initiatives, U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii, and Hawaiian Electric have set a precedent for resilience innovation. The 50 megawatt multi-fuel biofuel power generation plant in front of you provides increased energy diversity and resilience both on the Oahu electrical grid and U.S. Army Garrison-Hawaii. In the event of emergency, the plant will be capable of providing Schofield Barracks, Field Station Kania, and Wheeler Army Airfield with firm, dispatchable, flexible, and resilient energy generation. For the Army, resilience means the ability to anticipate, prepare for, and recover rapidly from energy disruptions that impact our mission. Energy resilience is of paramount importance for 156 Army installations and over 2,800 Army Guard and Reserve centers. These facilities require power to provide the critical infrastructure needed to organize, train, equip, and deploy our soldiers. Currently, however, this network of installations relies on a commercial power grid, no offense, HECO, that is vulnerable to disruption due to aging infrastructure, severe weather, and physical or cyber attack. Recent events demonstrate the complex multi-domain operations that our Army faces. Our enemies have the capability and the will to use cyber warfare and to attack the electrical grid. Terrorist groups have used the web to spread propaganda and incite lone wolf attacks. These adversaries will search for vulnerabilities on our installations and on our electrical grid. We must also consider the dangers posed by acts of nature that are growing in severity and frequency. Although it might be hard to imagine for a mainlander like me on a day like today, the garrison here in Hawaii knows all too well the potentially devastating consequences of extreme weather events like volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, storms, and tsunamis. That's why the project here at Schofield Barracks is designed to operate on a mixture of biofuel and conventional fuel and provide black start capability. With access to 30 days of fuel storage on the island and 5 days of on-site fuel and the ability to operate on multiple fuels, this project will greatly support our resilience goals. Although the Army is the largest consumer of electricity in the federal government, spending about $1.1 billion each year on installation energy, it takes diligent energy management and projects like this one to optimize our resources to become robust and resilient platforms to support the warfighter. This project not only increases the diversity of our energy sources and the reliability of our power supply, but it also serves as a model for collaborative partnerships with our utility service providing partners like Hawaiian Electric. We're building long-term energy resilience at one of the Army's premier installations, and together we're using new and innovative methods to accomplish it. The Schofield Barracks Generation Station is just the latest example of the Army's determination to refine and modernize its energy posture. The team at the Army's Office of Energy Initiatives, or Office of Energy Resilience, as we've started to call it, and I'll use them interchangeably, so forgive me, it's me, not you. They seek out opportunities that leverage private investment to develop large-scale projects like this one. These projects are financed, installed, and operated by utility companies and private developers like Hawaiian Electric, who's been a great partner for this project. The OEI, or OER portfolio, currently accounts for over 300 megawatts of energy production, with over 200 megawatts currently under development. Together, that's the equivalent amount needed to power about 500,000 homes. These projects strengthen the communities and the Army's energy diversity and security, adding new layers of resilience to our nation's critical infrastructure. It takes sustained, coordinated effort by a diverse group of stakeholders to get to where we are today. Most of you are here today, so thank you again. Thank you for moving this project forward to completion and supporting the Army, soldiers, and civilians. It was your dedication, professionalism, and diligence that made this a successful and historical project. So let's find another opportunity to work together again soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gillis. Smiley face for you as well. On behalf of Governor David Ige, our next speaker is Mr. Luis Salaverria, Director of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism at State Department. Mr. Salaverria.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. And just for Colonel Dawson, listening to you talk about this, the governor also happens to be an electrical engineer, so the opportunity to hear two electrical engineers banter each other will probably be very exciting and invigorating. So as the governor's cabinet member responsible for Hawaii's energy security and our path towards 100% renewable energy, it is an honor for me to be here today and to expand upon Hawaii's longstanding productive alliance with the U.S. Army and all of the branches of the U.S. military. Because at the end of the day, energy security is national security, and that's why Hawaii and its military partners share similar goals relating to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, fossil fuels, water consumption, while also increasing renewable energy and other ways of improving energy efficiency. In addition to that, as the single largest customer of Hawaiian Electric Utilities, the Department of Defense has an enormous impact on our economy. Through renewable energy and energy efficiency projects and installations that the Department of Defense continues to do, it continues to support our economy in new and innovative ways. And this Schofield facility, which will run on a mixture of biofuels and conventional fuels, will contribute to Hawaii's clean energy goals while strengthening Oahu's grid. The Schofield station will feature modern, flexible, and efficient generators that will complement increasing levels of solar and wind power in our state. And the energy generated by the 50 megawatt power plant that will feed Oahu's electrical grid, that will serve all of the utility customers on this island in the event of emergency, those are the things that we as policymakers and everybody knows that the relationship between the Army and the state of Hawaii is so important. And so, being located also 900 feet above sea level, the Schofield facility is the only base load generating unit on Oahu that is not near the coastline. And it's going to be protected from the impacts of climate change. So making Hawaii's energy systems more reliable, more resilient, more economically friendly, this Schofield power plant fits into the comprehensive statewide energy goals and will help Hawaii reach its energy independence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Salaverria. Smiley face as well. On behalf of Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Hawaii 2nd Congressional District, our next speaker is Ms. Kirsten Turner, Field Representative for Representative Gabbard.
Thank you for having me here today. Congressman Gabbard wanted to be here because this is an issue that is a top priority for her. But unfortunately, she had to go back to DC earlier than expected. So allow me to share just a few thoughts on her behalf. Here in Hawaii, protecting our environment is more than just a policy discussion, it's a way of life, embedded in the fabric of our culture and our society. Our culture of aloha is centered around love, respect, and compassion for all living things and is rooted in a deep respect for Mother Nature and the living, giving gifts she provides. That is why this project is so important. Not only is secure and reliable access to energy essential for Army readiness, but it moves us closer to our 100% renewable energy goal, reducing greenhouse gases and helping to improve the health and well-being of our people. In addition to the environmental benefits that this provides, it's also good for our energy security and, as Luis mentioned, our economy. This plant provides a physically secure facility for our servicemen and women to be able to do their jobs if normal electricity service is lost, but it also holds the potential to provide the energy we need if our fossil fuel supply is cut off. Of course, it's good for our economy because in order to successfully move toward a clean energy economy, we need to ensure quality living wage green jobs. This multi-fuel capable plant will help to do that by creating skilled jobs and more demand for local biofuels that help support innovation in both energy and agriculture. Congresswoman Gabbard has demonstrated her commitment to creating more green jobs with her introduction last year of the Off Fossil Fuels for a Better Future Act that will move our nation toward a clean energy economy. Transitioning to clean energy will stimulate our economy and support our working men and women while also protecting our precious environment. On behalf of the Congresswoman, I want to thank each of you for being here today and for your dedication to making this biofuel-capable, multi-fuel-capable power generation facility a reality. Our office looks forward to continuing to work alongside you to support the clean energy needs and goals of our military, our state, and our nation. Mahalo.
And thank you, Ms. Turner. Smiley face as well. Our next speaker, Representative Colleen Hanabusa, Hawaii 1st Congressional District, sends her regrets that she cannot be here today. Excuse me, our next speaker. Our final speaker is Mr. Alan Oshima, President and Chief Executive Officer at Hawaiian Electric Company. Mr. Oshima? No? I'm sorry? Thank you. So let's see if we can modify our script quickly. Insert new speakers. Who would like to go first? Senator Schatz, please. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Aloha. I mean, I wrote a speech, so I figured. It really is a pleasure to be here with all of you, and many of you, if not all of you, remember when we were here last, and this was not much more than a patch of dirt and some grass. And we came together, shovels in hand, to break ground on this project, and now we are here with a full generating station that's up and ready to go. And I have to say, I don't know if you had the same experience, because we had all been here. I think as you drive in, even maybe those of you who are technical understand that there's a facility here, but I'm still picturing the old thing. And so as Dale, my senior policy advisor, and I are arriving, we're wondering if it's the right place, because there's a facility here, and that's not what I remember, but it goes to show how much progress we've made from a groundbreaking to a ribbon cutting. Congratulations to everybody who was involved, including the teams at Army Office of Energy Initiatives, U.S. Army Garrison, General Brown, Hawaiian Electric, DBED, the Wahiawa legislators, Assistant Secretaries Hammock, Gillis. Thank you to the Congressional delegation, everybody. Many hands made light work, but one hand, I think, that guided this whole project from the very beginning is our predecessor, Senator Daniel K. Inouye. There is no way this would have happened without Senator Inouye's leadership, and that is worth saying. This is not the first power plant in Hawaii to be built because our military needed it. 80 years ago, in June of 1938, the first generating unit at Waiau Power Plant came online. It was the second plant on Oahu, and it opened in part because the military needed more power than the first plant could supply. Alan, I'm sorry if I'm taking all of your lines. Are you scribbling? Yeah. So this is really extraordinary. That unit would become part of Hawaii's history. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, 13 HECO employees held down the plant, even as bullets were coming through the walls. During each wave of attack, they did not shelter in place. They kept working, shutting down the equipment each time to minimize the damage. And throughout the war, the plant sometimes had to black out service to communities to meet the demands of the military, but most of the time they were able to avoid blackouts by coordinating with the government so that everybody, civilian and military, had power. That is the kind of partnership that we are capable of. It's capable of adding to the greater good, of aiding our national security, and preparing us for an uncertain future. With the Schofield Generating Station, we now have the most survivable power plant on Oahu, and one that brings us closer to our clean energy goals. So this project really sets the bar for the rest of the military and the rest of the country. It shows that you can find solutions that work for everybody, for the military, the community, and the environment. And you can take a patch of grass and make it into a national example. So congratulations to everybody on an extraordinary team effort. We're all looking forward to seeing this station come online. Aloha.
Thank you, Senator Schatz. You had one job, right? You guys have seen it on the internet theme. You had one job. That was to read the script. So my apologies for that disruption there. Our next speaker will be Senator Hirono. Ma'am.
Thank you. You gave us a light moment, actually, because Brian and I looked at each other going, what? Okay. Yeah, it's always good to be reminded that we're just regular folks here, right? Thank you very much. It's really fantastic to be here because, as noted, the last time I was here was for the groundbreaking, and it was just dirt out here with the, what did you say, peely grass? Whatever, it was bad grass. And so, as I'm told that this project, which is so important, came in on time and under budget. We'd love to hear that. Yes. So I also think it was fantastic that Colonel Dawson, you started with a Latin quote, no less. And Mr. Secretary, you know, you told us the difference between Yankee and damn Yankee. I never knew that before. So as I was sitting here trying to figure out, okay, is there an appropriate quote that I can cite? Okay, what I came up with is, everything has been said, but not everybody has said it, so I'm here, okay? Obviously, this is an example of a great partnership between the HECO and our military. And as you said, Colonel Dawson, Mr. Secretary, you know, our military is the biggest user of energy, and we have a lot of vulnerabilities as a result of our reliance on energy that's not necessarily sustainable. And so this is truly a project that moves us forward so that we can talk about energy resiliency and energy cost savings for the military. But the great part is, of course, this is an example of a partnership. And while I'm on the subject of talking about Colonel Dawson, I want to thank you for the leadership that you've provided here. He's leaving us. They always leave us. So I said to him, the next guy better be as good as you are. But can we give Colonel Dawson a round of applause as he... as you go to your new post, and I think it's Georgia, isn't it? So the Yankee damn Yankee comparison is really appropriate. This project is cited as an example, really, as I was talking with Mr. Secretary Gillis. I think you told me, someone, I don't know, the brain goes sometimes, but we have so many partners here that when the Army talks about energy resiliency and these kinds of projects, that this Schofield project is used as an example of what we can do, and that there is a desire to have more than one example for this kind of partnership. And so I did put into the most recently passed NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, one of the major must-pass pieces of legislation that is supported in a bipartisan way. And we just, in the SAS committee, Senate Armed Services Committee, on which I serve, I put in language that cites to this specific project as an example of other projects like this that we should support and foster. So not only does it increase our resiliency, of course, but it also contributes to Hawaii's goal of 100% energy, renewable energy reliance. We have the most, I think, the most advanced of any state's goals toward energy self-sufficiency in the state of Hawaii, energy self-sufficiency by 2045. So thank you for being here representing the governor. And of course, it does help our businesses because this plant is going to rely on some feedstock that comes from companies like Hawaii Pacific Biodiesel. And I don't see Bob and Kelly King here, but they have been at the forefront in promoting biodiesel as a way for us to become much more energy self-sufficient in our state. And of course, it promotes national security goals when we are much more energy self-sufficient. So for all those reasons and many more, I thank each and every one of you. And you know what? I'm really glad that you cited to the godfathers of this project, you know, the unsung heroes, I would say, Keith and Bob sitting back there. Thank you very much. Every good idea needs its champions. Otherwise, it just is an idea that's sitting there. This idea obviously had a lot of champions, but the two people who, Bob and Keith, you are often not recognized, but we are going to recognize you once again for being the godfather of this project, and I hope other projects to come at other installations in the state of Hawaii. So can you gentlemen stand up again? We need to see what you all look like. Yay. All right. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, our final speaker. To be sure, though, is there anyone else who thinks they're supposed to be speaking who's not in my script? This is not an open mic, but I'm just making sure. Okay. Our final speaker, Mr. Alan Oshima, President and Chief Executive Officer at Hawaiian Electric Company. Mr. Oshima.
And you guys got smiley faces too. You know, one of the problems of speaking last, a thing like this, everybody said everything, but there are a few things that I think we can point out. I'm going to start out by saying I was rewriting everything because everything has been said. But I want to concentrate on three things that I think this project really highlights for us. And that's grit, community, and trust. And that's what we're all about in terms of our company as we move forward. Frankly, I think that's what our state is all about. And so the grit that's been shown on seeing this project through, not only the technical parts of this project, which are impressive, but also the grit to get the financing, to hedge the euro, to get prices in on time. These are things that, while we really appreciate Bob Eisler and Keith Yamanaka, there are a lot of people behind the project here to make sure it comes in on time, on budget. And those unsung heroes are frankly sometimes overlooked. Even as we move to energy resiliency in Hawaii, one of the backbones of energy resiliency, sometimes we focus so much on the technology that we forget the financing. And one of the things that really will help Hawaii get to where it needs to be is a strong financial backbone. We don't want to be another island community that is bankrupt and cannot afford to restore, to build what is needed for the economy, for lifestyle, for public safety and health. So I think sometimes it gets lost in the conversation, and I thank Connie Lau here at HEI for the financial guidance that helps our company, American Savings Bank, and frankly others, to recognize that as a strong part of what we need to do as we move forward. One of the things that this is a win-win, but not only for our company, the state, and the military, but it's really a win-win. We have to include our customers, because what this provides is with so much variable renewable energy on our grid, you have to fill in the gaps, right? The sun is out now, it wasn't so much so a while back. That all affects our system operations. This project, and I'm going to read what the engineers gave me. This project can be online in 1.5 minutes, reach full load in 6 minutes, and that combined to our next fastest generating stations, combustion turbines, come online in 20 minutes, take 45 minutes to reach full load. And then our fastest, now this seems like an odd use of the term fastest, our fastest steam units, which were built decades ago and are located on the shoreline, take 1.5 hours to come online and 3 hours to become available for full load. So you can see the workhorses that were built in a different time and place, including Waiau, no longer serve the needs of our integration of renewable energy on our system. And for that, it takes financing, it takes forward planning, it takes engineering, it takes community, but it takes grit. We have to build trust, and we all have to hold hands. We all have to do this in a kako fashion as a community coming together to reach our goals. This plant will save about 26,000 gallons of burned oil per year, which in comparison to some of our other large projects may seem small, but every bit helps. I also want to point out surrounding Schofield will be coming online by the end of this year, 109 megawatts of grid solar. So it went through a rough spot with some financing problems of the third party Sun Edison, resurrected through its next generation NRG. We're working closely with them. We think they're going to be online on time, and it will provide more solar energy to our already impressive numbers. Finally, I want to talk about the military. Yes, they're our largest customer, but they play such a big part in our community. You all know, I mean, this may not be on the news because of what lava is doing on the Big Island. And it takes a lot of the energy out of what's covered. But on the Big Island, for example, we are so grateful that the military is there, ready to serve, and to evacuate isolated communities that may be stuck without the military presence. And I think that goes unsaid. The military always steps up as a good community partner. And so we really do appreciate the military, not only for being a great customer and staying connected to the grid, which also helps us incorporate more renewables for everyone at a fair price, but for really being there as part of our community. So thank you to the military. I will also thank all of the hands that did this. So Bob and Keith have gotten the accolades. There are some other people here that should be recognized as well. From our side, Grant Imamura, Director of Generation Project Development, Shelly Takasato, Project Manager, and Jack Shriver, Manager of Generation Project Development, all played such incredible roles in making sure that this happened on time, on budget, and it's going to work. So thank you very much to all of you. It's a pleasure being here at such a wonderful occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shima. I'd also like to add another bit of thanks to the folks that made this all physically possible, the Garrison staff, also the folks at Hawaiian Electric who got the facility together, got the ceremony together, got the stage, got the flags, got the band, got the everything. The script writers, I want to see you after this, please. But for everyone else, thank you so much for all they've done. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. So now it's time for the big finish. We're going to commemorate the Schofield Barracks Energy, Resilience, and Security Achievement. I'd like to ask the official party to move into place for the Hawaiian blessing and the untying of the Maile Lei, which will be officiated by Kahu Keikoa. Kahu?
Aloha vakia kako, aloha. I'm not official speaker. You know, I was here also when we did the groundbreaking for this, and it was a beautiful time for us to be together. And kind of what just happened when you were speaking, Mr. Shima, was the sun came out. And that was a beautiful sign for us as people of Hawaii, that the sun brings energy for our people in Hawaii. But you also notice that the sign fell down. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it right now. There's a wind that's coming this direction. A lot of times our wind comes from this direction. What we're doing today is winds of change. I also want to highlight that we've honored people in the great things that we are doing. But for us as people of Hawaii, we always come back to our spiritual part and who we are. And you know, God has been in the business of energy way before we thought about it, in creating things like this. And yet we highlight our 4th and 5th graders from the Wahiawa community. And what we're doing today is not really for our generation, it's for the next generation. And yet it won't be us that will come up with the next thing in energy. It'll be those 4th and 5th graders who will help us to take this to the next generation. They will say to us, 1.5 minutes for real? That's so slow. We can get it in 3 seconds. We can get this up and going. You know what? That's their mentality, right? Because they're on the phone and all that kind of good stuff, right? So what we're doing today, we think we're on the cutting edge. But to them, cutting edge is even shorter. And so what we do today is to welcome the new technology for us, but to also begin to thinking about what will new technology be in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And so that sun that shines for us today, we welcome that change. The wind that blows by, we welcome that change. That's just some of the things that we do here in Hawaii. And we welcome those of you from the continental United States to also think how we think in Hawaii, because this is a very special place that makes changes around the world. And it's all about ohana. It's all about family. So thank you for sharing that. You know, we do what we do for the next generation, but those before us, like our senators before us, we're also thinking about the next generation. Today, I don't know why, but I decided to wear this robe. I usually wear my white robe. But this morning before I left my house, I saw this robe hanging in my closet, and this is actually my father's robe. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to honor my dad, because he was always forward thinking. He was also always one that would help us to think of the energy that we could have as young people, what we eat, get out there, run with the dogs, go surfing, all those kind of things that our bodies need for energy. So I thought, I'm going to honor my dad by wearing his robe. I will tell you, this is actually not a kahu robe, it's a choir robe. But you know Hawaiian people, they have ingenuity. They just think outside the box. I don't need to go buy an expensive kahu robe. I'm going to use the choir robe from the church. But I said, I'm going to use my dad's robe today. And again, in honoring those who have come before us, thinking about who will come after us, and with this beautiful generating power plant. Today, what we're going to do is, yes, bring it to life. And everything in Hawaii receives a blessing. It doesn't matter what it is, it gets a blessing because it's a new life. So you'll notice there's a beautiful mailele that's draped in front of the doorway there. For those of you from Washington, we don't do ribbon cuttings. We do untying of mailele, because that lei is one that is filled with life. And this power plant will bring life to many, many people. Yes, you've heard where it's located, why it was located here, the great things it will do. But it's really for the benefit of all people. And so that beautiful mailele will untie in just a minute. Again, it's kind of like an umbilical cord. We're bringing life to this baby. It will be unlike any of the other power stations that are on Oahu or in the world at this point. And so today, as we untie that lei, I'm going to ask all of you to think about someone who is in the next generation in your life. Could be a son, could be a daughter, could be a grandchild. It could be a neighbor's child, could be someone else's child. But I want you to think of someone in the next generation that this is going to benefit. Because again, this is not just for us who are sitting under the tent. It's for families that will benefit and help them to dream of their goals for their family. So I'm going to use that beautiful mailele. I'm going to use these 3 tea leaves. Hawaiians would use the tea plant as medicine. So guess what? There's healing in the blessing we're about ready to do. Hawaiians also use this in cooking. So there's nourishment in what we're about ready to do. Hawaiians also use this as we plant it around our yards. So for all the reasons you've heard in the speeches, there's safety in what we do in this project. I'm going to use good fresh Hawaiian rainwater. This rainwater fell from the sky about 25 years ago. Not on the Waianae Range you see behind me, but more on the Ko'olau mountain range. So below us, there's the volcano lava tubes. That's where our water sits today. And the Board of Water Supply goes down and brings it up. Is someone also from 25 years before you? Someone who has encouraged you, loved you, helped you to be who you are. I saw 2 of my students here. Yes, right there, and in the back there. I've poured into them, loved into them. So I want you also to think about who has mentored you and loved you, because that's the benefit that we're going to give into the blessing today. So I'm going to use these elements of our Hawaiian culture. Finally, I'm going to use my Bible written in Hawaiian and in English. Just so you know, I have no heebie-jeebie powers, okay? I'm just going to ask him to do the blessing. I'm just a vessel. Like everything you see here, these wires, we are vessels to do his work. So I'm going to use all these elements of our culture. There's some of you that are sitting here in the front row. I'm going to ask you if you would come to the mailele at this point. We're going to do that blessing. So at this point, if all of you on this side, if you use your right hand, please, and you can just hang your left hand behind you. All of you on this side, use your left hand. You can just leave your right hand behind you. Perfect. I'd like to remind you that this blessing today is not about you, but there are hundreds of people that stand behind you. They stand on your shoulders. And as they stand on your shoulders, they want you to do what's right, to do what's pono. Kamehameha III said, "Umau ke o kaina I ka pono." The life of the land is perpetuated in doing the right thing. This is the right thing. It's a part of being true. Because he didn't want bloodshed on our island home. Well, today, this energy is bringing life. So it continues to do the right thing. Again, your hands have helped us get to this point. And your dollar bills. Not our dollar bills, but someone's dollar bills. Thank you. And so today, as you hold on to that lei, as Alan said, many hands make light work. And so today, as you stand here, we're going to ask Keakua's blessings as we do this. And then I'm going to ask you too that you're going to help us untie this lei in just a second. I'm going to ask Keakua's blessings. Will you bow your heads with me, please? E pule kako. O mako makula ni piha me ke aloha. Mahalo ya oi no ko launa puna mai me mako I ke ala. O oi ko mako haku. A me ko mako ola. Ke ho mai aku ne mako ya ona. Keakua, this community of Wahiawa, very important as I was raised here in Wahiawa. This is our place we would come to play and enjoy as a young boy. Today, the purpose of this aina has changed a little bit. And as it has changed for the better. As we have put this generating power plant to make a difference, not just in this acre of aina, but Keakua, all across our island home. Mahalo for that makani nui, that wind that's blowing by right now. Mahalo for that la, that sun that's shining down upon us. Both of those create energy. Keakua, again, as we have mentioned, our youngsters, Keakua, they may come up with new ideas of how we can use our volcanoes here to create more energy. They may come up with new ideas of how this power plant can even double what it does today. Today we ask your blessings upon all generations, from the past to the present to the future. Keakua, not just the hands of those that are holding our maile, but all of us that are here today. We ask you, Aloha Spirit, as we have been created in your likeness, may we think good thoughts so we can do good things. Then our hands will do good work with the right intentions within our spirit. Within our na'au. We pule this blessing with much aloha. Amene no Keakua pau. Amene, amene, amene. E Keakua mai. E ho'okipa mai. E malama mai. Mahalo ya oi no ko launa puna mai me mako. Ike ala. O oi ko mako haku. Ame ko mako ola. Keakua, this wonderful water, this vai, again, another life-giving fluid. We ask you, Aloha Spirit, to be pono, as once again, we are bringing this building to life, but more important, not just the building, because it's an empty shell, until we give the command to press the button and make it work. So, Keakua, we ask you, Aloha Spirit, to be pono, now and forevermore. I'm going to put a little bit of water in your right hand. I did the lei. That's all of us together. I'm going to put a little bit of water in your hand. That's for all the people that you represent. Okay? Again, Keakua, may your Aloha Spirit be pono now and forevermore. Keakua, for all the goodness that you have blessed us with, for all the goodness that is here. Mahalo ya oi no ko lau mai me mako ike ala o wai ko mako haku a me ko mako ola. Again, Keakua, for all the blessings that you have given to us here in Hawaii, and we people of Hawaii. May your goodness be pono now and forevermore. Mahalo Keakua me ke aloha pumehana e malama ho'omai kahui he maluma. Again, for all the goodness of this place. Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo. Okay? You guys look good. Let's take a photograph. Okay? And on the center here. Any photographers come right in the center? And if you could just pass the lei, yes, pass it all the way to the end, to both sides, and wrap it right around the station. Again, kia kua, our handprints are important. You ask your Aloha Spirit to be pono, goodness in this place of Hawaiʻi, this place we call Wahiawa, this place we know as Schofield Barracks. Mahalo ya oe no ko launa puna mai me mako I kia la, o oe ko mako haku, a me ko mako ola. Again, kia kua, as we make our imprint in the world today, kia kua, our hands are our imprint. So I ask your Aloha Spirit to be pono now and forevermore. Mahalo kia kua, mahalo kia kua, mahalo kia kua. Thank you. Thank you.
Hua. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be happy to know that concludes the Commemoration of Operations portion of today's event. You are now invited to join us for networking, photographs, light refreshments, and the Chinese lion dance. On behalf of the U.S. Army, Garrison-Hawaii, and Hawaiian Electric, thank you for attending the Schofield Barracks Energy Resilience and Security Project Commemoration of Operations. Have a great day, and mahalo and aloha.